Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Glad that you are all here today. We are going to continue looking at the teachings of the great monk, Zen master Huangbo, and we're on chapter 4, part 4 of this record entitled Wise Nourishment. You can take a few moments before we begin the Dhamma exploration to just find a settled position for the body. You may like to sit upright, you may like to sit cross-legged. But just finding that comfortable, stable position to be in. Take a few deep breaths to really gather the mind, gather the presence of the mind in the body. Connect with the heart, the whole body that is sitting here. All of these elements come together, earth, wind, water, and fire, so that this body can be in the way that it is right now. So taking a few deep breaths and really bring that all together to the present, to this moment. Meditation is also a time when we can give ourselves that extra oxygen. You know, oxygen is so important for our heart, our body, our mind, everything to function, for the blood to flow, for our health to be there. So we can really start by taking a few deep breaths. And completely feeling whatever there is to feel in the body at this moment. Here at the monastery in the south of Italy, it's been so windy all day, just really powerful wind. And all of these trees and the buildings and everything is moved around, pushed around by this wind. But because the roots are deep, it's not too much of a problem. And when we breathe deeply, when we practice deeply, when we give deeply, when we stay with our precepts deeply, we also establish those roots deep in our own heart, body, and mind, concerned with blessings, concerned with all of these good deeds that we have been doing. And even though there may be some suffering, some difficulty, some situation that comes up, there's still a peace there. There's still a safety and a freedom here, even though the winds blow so strongly. Huangbo, wise nourishment. Practitioners of the way have no doubt that the four great elements constitute the body, that these four great elements have no self, and that the self has no master. Commentary. The four great elements of earth, water, fire, and wind, which constitute materiality, temporarily come together to form the body. However, there is no basis for presuming a self controls this body. Even though there is no self, Zen teachers tell you to find the master or owner, because you would otherwise not attempt to solve the fundamental problem of existence. While considering this issue, however, it is problematic if you simply memorize the words or repeat the question, "Who is the master?" without actually rectifying your thoughts. So this is kind of repeating a huatou or repeating a great question like, what is my original nature? What is my true nature, without having that authenticity, that depth to the question. Do not just memorize the words without being evaluated by someone who has real insight. Open your eyes to that root, the true characteristic of things, so that you firmly grasp the unchanging fundamental reality of your life, a life in which everything else is otherwise changing. Only then will you not be deluded, and at the same time you will not delude others. Firmly grasping the unchanging fundamental reality of your life. Huangbo. Know that this body has no self and no master. The five aggregates are mind, but the five aggregates have no self and no master. Commentary. This body seems to be ours, but it really isn't. There is nothing there that can be called a self. The five aggregates or skandha of material form, sensations, perception, volitional factors, and consciousness are the mind, but none of these constitute a self. What then makes you move? Zen masters encourage you to raise the question, who is dragging around this corpse? In order to push you to see your original form for yourself. If you only inquire into this question intellectually, you will continue to analyze it and end up living a benighted life, a wasted life, spending your whole life searching in vain for the answer. What I explain here is Master Linji's teaching of the three phases, the mysterious gates of the mystery in the essence, mystery in the word, and mystery in the mystery. It is said that you cannot even save yourself if you only realize the first of these three phrases. This is because the first phrase is only concerned with doctrinal concepts and intellectual thinking. So the phrase mystery in the essence is only concerned with doctrinal concepts and intellectual thinking. When you move on to the living word of the meditative topic, a question like, what is this? And realize the second phrase, that is, the mystery in the word, that is, such as in huatous or great questions to arise doubt, like, who is dragging around this corpse? you can become a master of both humans and divinities. However, when thanks to a master's blows and shouts, your whole body and mind become one with your doubt on the great question, it can be said that you have now opened your eyes to the third phase, the mystery in the mystery. When someone asks, without using your mouth, describe the ineffable fundamental reality that has no beginning and no end, only those who have no further traces of attachment to speech will be able to digest this question and answer it. Others will just be confused, with no clue about what is what. Huangbo. Know therefore that this mind has no self and no master. The 6 sense bases, 6 sense objects, and 6 consciousnesses come into contact with each other and become subject to production and cessation. So this is also the case with them as well. Since these 18 elements of cognition are empty, everything is empty. There is only the original mind, which is serene and pure. Continuing with Huangbo. There is the nutriment of consciousness and the nutriment of wisdom. The body consisting of the 4 great elements is tormented by hunger and disease. Nurturing this body with only what it needs, without generating greed and craving, is called the nutriment of wisdom. Self-indulgently clinging to what is tasty, mistakenly given rise to discrimination, seeking out only what pleases your taste buds, and without generating any sense of loathing, that is called the nutriment of consciousness. Shravakas are called auditors because they attain awakening by hearing the Dharma. A Shravaka is a disciple, a hearer, practitioner. So this body of the elements that does not have a self, earth, wind, fire, water, these elements come together, and because of cause and conditions, we have a body that's here, right? And this body is tormented by hunger and disease, tormented by sickness, old age, and death. Nurturing this body or taking care of this body with only what it needs, without generating greed and craving, is called the nutriment of wisdom, the nourishment of wisdom. Self-indulgently clinging to what is tasty, mistakenly giving rise to discrimination, so giving rise to picking and choosing, seeking out only what is pleasing to us, and without generating any sense of loathing, this is called the nutriment of consciousness. So recognizing that this desire, this tastiness, this greed, this self-indulgence is toxic for our well-being, toxic for our freedom. It binds us, it traps us. We loathe that quality of grasping, right? We see that and say, oh, that's disgusting. That's horrible. I don't want to be trapped by just living according to what is pleasurable. This is very different from how we usually operate, where, it's all sunshine and rainbows, and we just seek out more sunshine and rainbows, more pleasurable experiences. Shravakas, which is like can be senior monks and also those who they are skillful to listen to the Dhamma, listen to the teachings. Shravakas are called auditors because they attain awakening by hearing the Dharma. But Shravakas are unable to comprehend their own minds, so they generate understanding by listening to the teachings. Due to supernatural powers in some cases, due to auspicious signs, language, or actions in other cases, they hear about there being Bodhi and Nirvana, and after incalculable eons, their practice leads to the attainment of the path to Buddhahood. But since they are all still involved with the Shravaka path, so they are called Shravaka Buddhas. Commentary. Shravakas keep practicing in order to draw on the power of that practice, thinking there is always something more to be developed. But however much one's practice and however much karma one creates, one's original nature remains ever the same. It simply appears in various forms according to the functioning of consciousness. Once you realize this fact, you only have to let everything follow its own natural flow. Shravakas think that they have to remove the conceptualizing consciousness through practice, but intentionally trying to do so merely reveals their own misunderstanding. Huangbo. If you suddenly realize, right here and now, that your own mind is originally a Buddha, there is no Dharma that needs to be attained, and no practice that needs to be cultivated. This is the unsurpassed way. This is the Buddha of true suchness. Commentary. Although the waves on the ocean of the Buddha Dharma take various forms, their nature has never changed. The Buddha's wisdom, which is like a great round mirror, reflects everything just as it is. There is nothing to remove from or add to the mind. Because of the conceptualizing, consciousness arises. It is said that the mind is tainted, but it is in fact a misunderstanding to presume that the mind is tainted. It has never been tainted. Mirages unwittingly appear and coalesce. Beings seem to repeatedly live through the cycle of birth and death, but in fact they have never been born. If you are deluded by the appearances of rebirth, you become an ignorant sentient being. If you open your eyes to the true reality of the original cessation, the original ending that is nirvana, you will realize that you have never been born, and you will live undaunted even in this chaotic world. Huangbo. You practitioners of the way need only fear the existence of a single thought. Okay, Huangbo is saying something here. You practitioners of the way need only fear the existence of a single thought. That is what it means to become estranged from the way. Thought after thought, remaining free from characteristics, and thought after thought remaining uncompounded, that is Buddhahood. Commentary. You never think, though you think all day long, because the original place transcends causes and conditions. There is no trace of anything that can be called causes or conditions. There, a breeze suddenly arises and creates a form. This is how space and time appear. We create a cause and receive a consequent karmic fruit. We repeat this process over and over again, appearing and disappearing in this constant cycle of birth and death. There is no exception but one. The Buddha realizes this one single exception and reveals it to us in a way that we can understand easily. This is the sublime Dharma. The teaching of this sublime Dharma has been revealed in its entirety. Since you do not know it yet, you mistake it to be something esoteric. To those who do not yet know, it seems wondrous, but to those who do know, there is nothing wondrous about it, since they continually possess and draw on it. Huangbo. If you practitioners of the way wish to attain Buddhahood, you need not study any teachings of the Buddha. You need only learn to be free from seeking and clinging. If you are free from seeking, then the mind will not be produced. If you are free from clinging, then the mind will not cease. Neither production nor cessation. That is Buddhahood. Okay, so it's easy. We don't have to worry about it. Studying and things, memorizing things, no problem. Huangbo says, if you practitioners of the way wish to attain Buddhahood, enlightenment, you need not study any teachings of the Buddha. You need only learn to be free from seeking and clinging. Seeking, so kind of like a chasing after, right? Seeking, and that can also be like maybe we fear something in our past, or we want to get rid of something, right? So that seeking is we're kind of running away from, but we're running towards something running away from something that's already there. So we're running towards something else. The reason that we're trying to avoid that thing or get away from that experience is because it's there. If it wasn't there, we wouldn't be trying to avoid it. So we're seeking for another experience, right? And this clinging is like a contraction, like a grasping on, a fixation on the experience that we're having. And that tends to be what we consider to be pleasurable or ideal or preferential. And then the seeking is kind of like an avoidance. Huangbo, if you practitioners of the way wish to attain Buddhahood, you need not study any teachings of the Buddha. You need only learn, what to do to become enlightened. You need only learn to be free from seeking and clinging. If you are free from seeking, then the mind will not be produced. If you are free from clinging, then the mind will not cease. Neither production nor cessation, neither beginning nor ending, neither coming about or going away. That is Buddhahood. Commentary. If you stop seeking, abiding, and clinging, you will always be associated with what is unchanging. If you stop seeking, abiding, and clinging, you will always be associated with what is unchanging. The concept of stop seeking is difficult to explain and digest. If you understand this to mean do not do anything, then you will fall into a state of blankness. In order for students to avoid this state, masters say, do everything while doing nothing, or do not abide or cling to anything. Do everything while doing nothing. Do not abide or cling to anything. Okay, that's chapter 4. Do we have any questions or sharing about these pointers that we've received so far? You practitioners of the way need only fear the existence of a single thought. Fear the existence of a single thought. That is what it means to become estranged from the way. Thought after thought remaining free from characteristics, and thought after thought remaining uncompounded, unbinded, uncomplicated, unentrenched, ungrasped. That is Buddhahood. If you practitioners of the way wish to attain Buddhahood, you need not study any teachings of the Buddha. You need only learn to be free from seeking and clinging. If you are free from seeking, then the mind will not be produced. If you are free from clinging, then the mind will not cease. Neither production nor cessation. That is Buddhahood. So not seeking after something else other than what's already here, and not clinging onto what's already here. If you stop seeking, abiding, and clinging, you will always be associated with what is unchanging. The concept of stop seeking is difficult to explain and digest. If you understand this to mean do not do anything, then you will fall into a state of blankness. In order for students to avoid this state, masters say, do everything while doing nothing, or do not abide or cling to anything. Okay, Eli, do you want to, can you unmute your microphone?
Can you all hear me? My name's Eli.
Yeah.
Namaste. Yes, I wanted to share my experience, I guess. I currently am going through just a little bit of pain. I'm sure we can all relate in some way to that. So I just wanted to get some of your insight, Bhante, on how to work with our pain while we try to cultivate our meditation. Did that come through okay?
Anything
Okay,
else?
thank you. That's about it. Thank you. Thank you for the floor and thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's okay to be in pain. And there may be a taboo in the culture that I come from, America, about being sick or being in pain or being weak. I mean, I know that for me, that caused me a lot of suffering when I feel like I'm not strong, when I feel like I'm weak. I'm upset, I'm agitated, I don't like that. But if I can like disentangle my mindset about feeling pain or being sick or making mistakes or suffering is somehow wrong, that I shouldn't feel that way, or that it would be better if I felt another way. If I can, I kind of ignore that and just go forward. Um, and there's not always the good conditions to like be going forward in a meditation group and like studying the Dhamma and being in an environment like this, but those good conditions are here now. But still, like not to. In Buddhism, we have the teaching of the second arrow, right? So the pain is there, the suffering is there, the difficulty is there. We are flawed human beings in some capacity, but we don't need to add on an extra layer of judgment about that. That this is wrong or bad or that should be a different way. It just is that way, and it's okay. And maybe we don't have, I know I don't feel like I had in many times when I was growing up, like this acceptance of my frailty or that, that I was suffering and that it was okay that I was suffering. It was okay that I made mistakes. It was okay that I felt pain, that I was afraid, that I was depressed, that I was anxious. It was okay that my mind was unstable. And then I can be with that. And I don't have to add this extra layer of judging myself or hating myself in some way, being angry at this experience because it is the way that it is. And it's just the way that it is, which is very immediate and free from narratives about good and bad and right and wrong. And it's just like this way. And I can breathe with that. I can be with that. I can open my heart to my pain. I can open my heart to the imperfection of my experience, the unsatisfactory nature of my experience. And the more that I can open up to that, the more that I can be with that and endure with that, the more compassion I can have towards it. I've got to be there with it to offer that wish or that aspiration for it to come to an end. Right? If I'm not there with that suffering, if I'm not there with that feeling, then I can't understand it, and then I can't take care of it in the deepest way. And I also can't use it to create more happiness and more peace and resiliency. Because when we get through pain without beating ourselves up or going into the medicine cabinet or something like that, or going to the bottle, we grow from that, we learn from that. And it's not that we get a superhero cape on our back the next day or the next 30 minutes or something because we sat with our pain in a wholesome way. But it is that our heart feels safer with us, right? So that's what I can say about the pain. And Caroline talking about the blankness, bring more energy, bring more, so you can change the position that you're sitting in. And I don't know how flexible you are, but it can be very helpful if you do a cross-legged position or even a half lotus or a full lotus position. Really get the body upright and stable and present. And when that blankness is there, you just kind of increase your concentration on that experience. And the instruction right here is very clear that do not abide or cling to anything. So that experience of blankness is what you don't abide in, you don't cling to. And you keep that perception, that looking, that experiencing, that brightness, that attentiveness. And also, you do everything while doing nothing. So everything. You can even use the word everything at a time like that and really expand out the mind, expand out the presence, right? Bring the energy to it. So those are some things you can try. Let me know how it goes. To the degree that we get a state of relaxation, a deep relaxation when we're meditating, we want to meet that equally with the concentration. And certainly the kind, hey, there we go. Ajahn Brahm says kindfulness, we can say kind-centration. You've got to use your kind-centration. And that's bright and it's sharp, but also kind, right? Use the kind-centration. And you can think that's a really powerful energy, right? That kind-centration. Maybe you have the naughty little baby, little boy or little girl, they out of control, they doing so many things, but they're innocent, they're good, So you've got to be strong. And a lot of people don't really know about concentration. They think if you're strong, then it's inherently like anger or something like that. But in this case, it's not, it doesn't necessarily, you can yell at them if it's full of that concentration, right? And they can feel that. And so we have to feel that in ourselves as well, that powerful, bright, sharp kindness. Okay, let's read a few more lines from this, from Huangbo, a little bit more Dhamma text, okay? Huangbo, the Dharma body is like empty space. The true nature of yourself is like empty space. Your true person, your true self is like empty space. The 84,000 Dharma gates that counter the 84,000 defilements. Okay, so Dharma gates like freedom points, freedom connection points, and then 84,000 defilements. It's all these traps that we fall into, right? It's like seeing a mouse trap and saying, "Oh, that looks like some good cheese," and you go to grab it, it hits your hand's defiled, your hand's hurt. The 84,000 Dharma gates that counter the 84,000 defilements are just gates intended to edify and guide. So point out and guide. Originally, there are no such dharmas. Originally, there are no such dharmas. There are no gates and no defilements. Originally. Relinquishment is in fact the Dharma, and those who know relinquishment are Buddhas. Relinquishment. It's such a beautiful word, right? Let's search that here. Relinquish. Relinquish your body and mind. Okay, it says here, the act of giving up something, such as a responsibility, a claim, or a possession. The act of giving up something. And how accessible is it for us to give things up? Right? Now, if we're just kind of going off the cuff, and we accept these teachings and we feel the power of like giving things up, that might be scary. But when we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, it is not scary anymore. But we have to understand that there is a difference between the notion of relinquishment, the idea of relinquishment, and the act of giving things up. It's a big, big difference. There are a lot of people who play with the idea of giving things up. There are few people who actually do that. Right? And when all the things that we have are tangled up in this self, other, past, future, etc., narrative, we may approach relinquishment in a very unstable way. And relinquishment is not about instability. Relinquishment is about freedom from stability or instability. So naturally it is quiescent, it's dormant, it's natural. It's not forced, it's not controlled, it's empty. Right? The giver and the receiver, the giving away. But it also goes to the most subtle point here in terms of giving things up. The 84,000 Dharma gates that counter, that take care of the 84,000 defilements, the 84,000 sufferings, etc., are just gates intended to edify and guide. So is that edify? Is that a point out? To edify, to instruct, to improve. So to point, instruct, point. So the 84,000 Dharma gates that counter these 84,000 sufferings, defilements of the body and mind, of our experience, are just gates intended to instruct and guide. Originally, there are no such dharmas. Relinquishment, giving things up, giving away is in fact the Dharma. And those who know relinquishment are Buddhas. We can also do that as like a putting down, right? To have something you're holding, to put it down. Commentary. Originally, there is not a single Dharma that has been established, but the 84,000 Dharma gates have been opened as expedients for saving deluded people. You may reference those Dharma gates all day long, but none of them can actually be referenced. Although clouds may billow up one after another, no source can be found from which they are generated. In the same way, dharmas have no fixed characteristics. Although worldly dharmas are dharmas intended to be guarded, in this passage, dharmas mean something that should be neither guarded nor relinquished. So worldly dharmas are these worldly expedient means, these skillful ways of taking care of, helping out, of pointing out. Although worldly dharmas are dharmas intended to be guarded, in this passage, dharmas mean something that should be neither guarded nor relinquished. Huangbo. If you simply abandon all defilements, there will be no dharmas that can be ascertained. Commentary. If you hear this sort of statement, you may keep trying to relinquish all defilements, so to get rid of all your problems, all your sufferings, difficulties. But dharmas and defilements are identical from the start, and at the same time, dharmas are able to transform or overcome defilements. However, neither dharmas nor defilements have any fixed basis. So even though defilements may arise all day long, none has ever truly been generated. So it's like this. It's like this lighter. This lighter does not have any fixed characteristics. There's nothing fixed in this. Of course, it appears to be fixed. Yeah, if you look at a cloud, it appears to be Batman or, some kind of, symbol from, some spiritual tradition or something. Sure, it appears that way, but that cloud is not in any way fixed, just like this lighter is not in any way fixed. And in the same way, these dharmas and these defilements are not fixed. So it's a really compassionate and beautiful point here in the commentary. However, neither dharmas nor defilements have any fixed basis. So even though defilements may arise all day long, none has ever truly been generated. It's very wonderful, it's very compassionate, it's very beautiful, right? Even though you've been drinking to high heaven, 1, 2, 3 bottles, you've been on a bender, you've gone down back to the bottom of your life, right? And now you're waking up in a fog of misery and disappointment and self-hate, right? Neither dharmas nor defilements. So neither doing your best job, you've been meditating so much each day, now you're really strong, now you're flying on cloud 9. Hey, look at me, look how my mind is. Huangbo. If you simply abandon all defilements, there will be no dharmas that can be ascertained. to make sure of, to be certain about. If you simply abandon all defilements, there will be no dharmas that you can be certain about, that you can get a hold of, that you can see clearly. Now, if you hear this sort of statement, you may keep trying to relinquish all defilements so that you won't be stuck on anything, so that you'll be free from grasping. But dharmas and defilements are identical from the start, and at the same time, dharmas are able to transform or overcome defilements. However, neither dharmas nor defilements have any fixed basis. So even though defilements may arise all day long, that depression, that anxiety, that mental period of difficulty, none has ever truly been generated. Now, how to really understand this easily, right? Has empty space ever changed in past, present, or future? That's your nature. That's the original mind. Has empty space ever changed in past, present, or future? Who would you be? Where would you be? Where would everything be if not for space? We are space. Our thoughts are the space in between them. Has empty space ever changed in past, present, or future? While space may not change, the shapes of clouds appear and disappear in the sky, just coming and going. Right? And this is the non-dualistic tradition, right? The tradition that perceives the true nature of a tree that is non-dual. A tree is non-dual. It means a tree does not carry separation in it. There is no separation between a tree and everything. There is no separation between this body and mind and everything, ever. Just in the same way that space has never changed in the past 1,000 years or 1,000 years in the future, space is unchanging. So also that everything that is at the core of every particular thing does not change. And it's not discussable, it's not thinkable, it's not arguable, right? It's the nature. Huangbo. If you practitioners of the way want to know the essential akromata for attaining enlightenment, simply add not a single thing to the mind. If you practitioners of the way want to know the essential way for attaining enlightenment, simply add not a single thing to the mind. The statement, the true Dharma body of the Buddha is like empty space, is an analogy for this. Akromata, that's an interesting word. Let's see this. Akromata. Plural of akroma. Esoteric teaching. Special teaching, direct teaching, secret teaching. Okay, so Huangbo's given us the real treatment here. Let's hear this. The special teaching, okay? If you practitioners of the way want to know the essential akromata for attaining enlightenment, simply add not a single thing to the mind. The statement, the true Dharma body of the Buddha is like empty space, is an analogy for this. Commentary. Do not cling to these words either. This is the special principle and the special dimension of Zen, and really why we are able to penetrate into this text and go into this text together, because we're not studying this as academics. We are exploring this as a practice of recognizing our self nature, remembering our self nature. So we're not dissecting this. We're not. It's the best phrase, the most understandable and workable phrase, and the phrase that we don't get or we don't understand. Commentary. Do not cling to these words either. You must awaken to verify these words. Do not get stuck at the level of understanding this statement conceptually. From a worldly perspective, you may be considered smart if you have exceptional knowledge and learning. But though you may convince others and satisfy their intellectual curiosity, it cannot be said that you know the real characteristic of things. Empty space that embraces all appearances is similar to the Dharma body, the Dharmakaya. This Dharma body has no fixed form, right? So especially this fixed mental formation, mental perception about it that you or me may create when we hear those words. Empty space that embraces all appearances is similar to the Dharma body, the Dharmakaya. This Dharma body has no fixed form. The Dharma body is that which is able to assume various forms while simultaneously assuming no form at all and embracing everything. Huangbo. The Dharma body is empty space. Empty space is the Dharma body. People always say that the Dharma body pervades empty space, and empty space subsumes the Dharma body. They are not aware that the Dharma body is empty space, and empty space is the Dharma body. So, what is the Dharma body? The Dharma body is empty space, and empty space is the Dharma body. Commentary. The descriptions alertness and quiescence, and void and quiescent numinous awareness are often deployed to depict the Dharma body. Forms may be empty space, but empty space does not feel warmth and cold. It is the Dharma body that feels warmth and cold. So, what is it like to cling to empty space? Not seeking after anything, but also not dwelling anywhere, not dwelling in a particular feeling, not dwelling in a particular situation. There is a natural curiosity. But a curiosity that is not someone seeking to know, but just experiencing. And then in that experiencing, noticing as phenomena arise, not seeking after them, not trying to get away from them, and applying that to every sense of mind, every thought, every experience in the body, not trying to get something else, not trying to get away from, and not dwelling in any particular state, in any particular frame of mind or frame of being. Very curious, but kind centration, not just kind of dwelling there like a puddle, but kind centrated. Do not cling to these words either. You must awaken to verify these words. Do not get stuck at the level of understanding this statement conceptually. This Dharma body has no fixed form. The Dharma body is that which is able to assume various forms while simultaneously assuming no form at all and embracing everything. Okay, Sangha. So that is our 1 hour for today. Maybe we'll finish with sharing the merit and 3 sadhus. So I invite everyone to unmute their microphone here on Discord, and we can make that a kind of dedication and an expression of our sincerity to, whatever benefits that we get from this. May we share it. May we offer it out towards all beings. Okay? So welcome to bring your hands together and repeat after me. May all the merits that we have done till now
May all the merits
that we have done till now
be dedicated and shared out towards all beings.
be dedicated and shared out
and
to
shared
all
all
beings.
May all beings rejoice and receive our merits.
May
All
all
beings
beings
rejoice and
rejoice and
receive
receive
our
our
merit.
merit.
May it be,
May it
May
be,
it be,
may it be,
may it
may it
be.
be,
may we all be free from clinging.
may we
May
all
we
be
all be free from
from
clinging.
clinging.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you, dear Sangha. Take care.
Thank you, dear Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.